So yeah, the famous Nether Spider, essentially the nightmare boss that you have if you're an early mid-game player, and this guy is so annoying. I know people have certain builds, but if you don't have certain characters, there's literally nothing you can do to progress against this guy, because with a lot of other bosses you can kind of brute force it, but here you can really get stuck. I've been stuck for months on this guy. Currently I got a decent-ish team, but I still don't have the optimal one, so I can kind of defeat him on a certain stage, but eventually he gets too powerful. However, if you guys are new to the game, I want to really quickly cover what you can do, because there are some strategies, some better than the others, and there are some champions that you can use to be able to progress. Just super quick before we get into it, if you guys are also new to the game, you just click my link in the description or scan the QR code you can see on the screen. You are going to get Zergala as soon as you complete the tutorial, so pretty good champion. You will get Ugo at level 15, and then you can also go into the promo codes. You can type in something like Monkey King to get the Sun Wukong, which, by the way, is an excellent champion to use for this Nether Spider, so you want to have this guy, or if you don't want him, you can just type in Supreme 6. Additionally, if you guys are in need of a clan, just join mine, the Arena Syndicate TS4A. Now, let's talk about this annoying guy. Now, currently the new Doom Tower rotation started. Last time, I think I got essentially by the end of it. Near the end of it, I just didn't have the time or the patience to deal with this boss, but I did manage to defeat him on multiple occasions. So, the unfortunate fact is, unless you have the necessary champions for him, you are going to have a really bad time. Now, luckily, I did manage to get Geomancer. I managed to fully rank him up, get all the gear, get all the masteries. I think I even got not the artifacts, the relics. So yeah, I managed to get everything done for him, so he can help, but eventually with just Geomancer you're gonna get stuck as well, so you will need some other champions. Now let me really quickly just tell you what I'm talking about, because we're not gonna read everything here, but with some of these bosses with the Doom Tower, you are going to essentially need to at least read some guides or to understand what is going on. But it's not really that difficult. You just summon spiders. These spiders throw debuffs on you, and then if you get enough debuffs, you are going to get completely wrecked. We'll get into the boss in like a little bit, but let me just really quickly show you what I'm talking about. So the big problem with this guy is that there's a lot of champions that do like AoE damage. So for example, Coldheart, which is a pretty decent champion, has a problem with her A1 where she attacks the boss, but she can also attack multiple ones. So you really don't want to piss off the spiders. Like if you attack the spiders, you want to get rid of them with one hit. If you keep hitting them, he's gonna throw poison debuffs, and eventually you're just going to get wrecked, because the boss itself throws poison on you, which you can really survive. If you got someone like Melga, just throw in a shield, you can survive it. But if the spiders keep throwing a lot of, like, if you attack them and you don't kill them, they're gonna throw a lot of poison, and essentially this guy is just going to wipe you out in one turn. So there are multiple strategies to go with it. Right now, the best champions is Drexstar. I believe you can get him from the Bazaar. I don't have him, so I haven't used him. It's the HP burn, and also, ideally, and this is something I don't have, so there's two champions that you can use. You can use debuffers to remove the poisons. So if you got someone that can remove the buffs, the debuffs from the champion, like a cleanser, he can cleanse the poisons, and then you can survive for a really long time. That is really the optimal strategy. I believe it's the Relinquary Tender. I don't have her, so I don't really know, but the other thing that you can really do is you can try like multiple strategies. You can try, if you have very strong characters like Kale, for example, you can try wiping out the entire spider like in one wave. Like this works for few floors, so floor 30, floor I believe 70 or it is, you can kind of do it, but eventually you just can't do as much damage in a single turn. However, there are some tricks to go about it. Now, Geomancer here is essentially the perfect counter for him, because Geomancer attacks on one. He gives like a debuff to the boss, and then every time he attacks, the boss takes damage. The problem with Geomancer here, though, is eventually you're gonna have to do the A1 ability, and you're gonna piss off all the spiders, and every time I piss off the spiders, two things happen. One, the spiders keep giving you poison, and the other is that he heals up. So this is going to be a little bit of a problem. Let me just really quickly, before we get into the actual boss, let me really quickly talk to you about what champions you can kind of use. So of course, and this is like one of those guys, like if you just go to Hellcades or a lot of videos, people are like, yeah, use this champion. And that is great and all, but what if you don't have this guy? I mean, if you don't have a few champions, you're just not going to be able to get through this. I'm sorry, like you will need some champions to be able to do something. So Geomancer, as I said, is literally one of the best, most optimal characters for him. He has this ability, which essentially gives like an HP burn, but every time the boss attacks, it reflects the damage. Now, when you combine this guy, and unfortunately I have like one part of the puzzle, ideally you want to combine this with a heal reduction character. So if you can throw a heal reduction, the boss is not going to be able to heal. However, just to do not waste a lot of your time, if you guys are new players or if you're recently starting out, there are a few kind of like budget options. Now, this is like brute forcing it. This is not really the most optimal way you want to go about it, but it can be used. So, there's essentially two things you can do. One is the faster way and the other is the slower. So you want to get characters that can do single damage, decent single damage. It doesn't really matter that much. For example, I use the Tribune Heracles, which I know is a legendary, but you can use whoever. He has two very strong abilities that attack a single target. So you can use these guys as the damagers, and then you can use someone like Kale to like fully upgrade it to do the acid rain. Now, as I said, if the boss is weak enough, you can essentially destroy the spiders immediately. Every time the spiders show up, you just throw this and it can be done. Now, unfortunately, as the levels go higher, that can be a problem. However, you can use some buffer champions. For example, I got Dawncaller Sabita. She has this ability where she increases attack on all allies. So when I do this first and then Kale attacks, you're going to have an easier time. So this is the brute force way. Essentially, just get Kale, get one support character, and get a few regular champions to do some single target damage, and this can really be an easy way to brute force it through the first few floors, like through the easier levels. Now, another more strategic way is the slower way, and this can work, and it worked for me for a while, but eventually the damage becomes too great so you can't do it, and that is to go like a full support team. So I tried, out of the 5 champions, I did 3 supports. So I used Kale to try this same thing, but he didn't really kill them all the time. But I've used Melga for revival, to give the shields and revival, so this worked okay. And I've also used Dawncaller Sabita to do another revival. So if Melga dies, Dawncaller Sabita revives her, she revives everyone. I've also combined that with the Apothecary, who has a very strong heal on 2 turns. So essentially I was trying like figuring out, like I was using the Apothecary to heal Melga to throw the shields, Dawncaller Sabita to resurrect whoever falls, or if Dawncaller Sabita dies, Melga can resurrect her. So you can kind of like resurrect your supports or heal your support champions. And as I said, this can work for a while. It's gonna be like a 10-minute ride, because you barely do any damage, but it can work. It kind of depends, but you really gotta be strategizing with abilities. One of the problems with the Apothecaries is that he has this A1 ability, which attacks 3 enemies, so he can piss off the spiders. So you really want to kind of time this right if you want to kill the spiders and all, but this can be one of the brute force ways to do it. So as I said, like, there's 2 things you can do. You can go with full support and just try to heal your characters and just do single target damage. Just try to survive the damage, which can work through a way. You can also try to just completely AoE, like nuke the spiders if you got someone with strong abilities, and if you got a character that can like buff Kale, you can essentially do it to a higher level. However, eventually, as times get tougher, you are going to need a more optimal team. So you will need someone like the Geomancer to do like a counter, because he counters the boss, and you can use someone with like heal reduction, so this can help. And ideally, there's also the option to like control the spiders. So for example, I tried this, it didn't really work that great, but it works decently. So we got Cornelia here. She has this ability where she places sleep buffs on pretty much all the enemies. So there is a way for her to sleep all the spiders, or there are other champions that can freeze all the spiders, the spiderlings I mean, so this can help. But the problem is, I mean, sometimes she does this and she like sleeps 3 out of 4 spiders, and there is this one guy that keeps attacking you. So this is kind of hit or miss. I mean, the ideal strategy is you want to get someone like Geomancer and you want to get heal reduction so that it doesn't happen. But without going too crazy on talking about this, let me just really quickly show you the team that I've been using just for this. And as I said, this is really early floor, so it's not really that hard to do. So this is one of the teams that I've built recently to go through it. And nothing crazy. The only good thing about this is these two have single target damage, so they can do decent damage on the single target. Geomancer can counter the boss. Melga is one support just to shield everyone and revive if someone falls. And this guy can either do single target damage or revive, or I mean destroy all the spiderlings. So let's really quickly get into it. Alright, so we're clearing the waves, we're now getting into the boss, and let me really quickly, I'm not gonna go through the entire thing, let me just show you like what I've been talking about and how everything works. So as you can see, he just summoned the spiderlings, 4 different spiderlings, and he gives you like these poison debuffs. Now, the poison itself is not really all that much damage, but the more you stack of these poisons, the bigger problem it is going to be, because if you stack a ton of this, and he does like this one ability where he attacks everyone, he's essentially just going to one-shot your entire team, and essentially you're gone. So you really don't want him to stack as many of these poisons as possible. You can survive these many poisons, but if you get more, you're essentially screwed. So the problem with these spiders here is that they attack you. So every time you attack them, they counter and they give you more poison. So if you do like an AoE, for example, the big problem with Geomancer here with me is I've managed to fully book him right now, so he's doing pretty well, but he has this A1 ability. So if he does this and he never kills them, he never does enough damage, he's essentially going to piss off every single spider and just slightly damage them, and then they're gonna like destroy you with these poisons, and then this guy is just going to wipe you out. So that can be a problem. However, let me just show you quickly what I'm doing here. So we got this powerful, super powerful ability. Ideally, yeah, that's stuck. So he's essentially under an HP debuff here, and Geomancer has a passive, so every time these guys attack or he attacks, he's going to damage himself. Now, with Tribune Heracles here that I have, and the Dwarf, the thing is, there's just single target damage, so you could really use any champion here, just do decent single target damage here, nothing special. And Melga here just for support, so just to shield and just to revive. Now, here, we're essentially just doing like single target damage, as I said, nothing crazy, but it can do decent. Like, you don't want champions that have AoE damage on this. Now, here's the thing, so if you got Kale, and this is like 75 level, I think I might be able to one-shot them, but let me really quickly try. So, yeah, as you can see, I did manage to one-shot 3 of them. One guy survived, as you can see, he just gave me poisons. So, this can work to a certain extent, but you're not going to be able to use this brute force strategy. Like, there is no champion that's going to be able to hit this hard, especially if you get into hard Doom Tower, or if it starts getting harder. Now, here, as you can see, like every time he attacks, he damages himself. Now, the big problem with Geomancer here is if the spiders are alive and he keeps attacking, every time he damages spiders but don't kill them, he heals himself. So you want a champion that can reduce the healing on this guy. So here we're just doing single target damage, nothing special. And as you can see, for like these early levels, Geomancer works perfectly fine. Alright, so let's try this. And the problem with Geomancer, you really need to book him. If you don't book him, you're going to have a really bad time. So he's probably going to start summoning the spiders now, but yeah, he's so weak at this level that you can really do it with a lot of different ways. Like at these levels, you can even try brute forcing them. Now, I've managed to use this strategy to essentially finish normal Doom Tower, but eventually it starts getting hard. So to really quickly recap what I'm talking about, like for the start, you guys want to get like a brute force method, so you can try Kale just to destroy the spiderlings, or you can do like a support team, so you can try to revive your other supports and just try to survive as much as possible to survive these poisons, to not piss off the spiderlings and just keep attacking these guys, so you kind of ignore the spiderlings. Now, after that, if you got Geomancer, you can start using this strategy. That can help, but ideally you want a champion that can either reduce the healing on the main boss, or you want to be able to kind of control the spiders, to freeze them, to sleep them, or to do something similar. However, if you guys are new to the game, I mean, as is the Doom Tower, as is the Cursed City, the big problem is going to be like if you don't have certain champions, you really can't progress. I mean, you can kind of brute force it until a certain extent, but after a while, you will start needing some champions that are very good. I believe you can get from the bazaar here. You can, yeah, you can buy Drexstar here, but this is super expensive, so this is going to take you a really long time. This guy is one of the MVPs for this with the HP burn, but as I said, for the start, there are certain ways you can go about it. Now, if you guys are new to the game or if you recently started playing, I'd urge you to click my link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen, and you can get, you will get Zergala as soon as you complete the tutorial. You'll get Ugo at level 15, and then after that, you can go into the promo codes. You can type in the promo codes. You can type in Monkey King to get Sun Wukong, which is also a very useful champion for the Nether Spider, or you can also type in Supreme 6 to get like a Supreme Gallic, which is also an amazing champion, and you'll get a whole bunch of things, like this is like a package worth $60. So, also if you guys are in a clan, check out my clan, the Syndicate DS4A. So, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.